Afternoon everyone, Carol here at Towcast Journals. Big warm welcome from me, and as you can see I'm going to have a go at doing my assignment in Margarete Miller's weekly collage planner project or challenge, and I'm going to do my assignment for week 46. So I've got an array of bits of bobs here in front of me. The first prompt is buttons, real, drawn or stamped. Well, I thought that I would have a go using these little edge strips here that I've got. Probably going to use this one because it's got some red ink on it. I've got here a little tiny punch. It's a circle punch, and as you can see it's 1/2 inch, so I think that's going to be perfect. A piece of architecture, well, I'm going to stamp a piece of architecture, and as you can see I've got the Eiffel Tower here, so I'm going to use that. The next prompt is red ink, so I thought I would stamp my Eiffel Tower in some red ink. Now, I don't know what colour I'm going to use yet. This one is red geranium. This one is carnation red. The other one I've lifted out is fired brick, and I've lifted out the distress oxide because I actually think they give a softer shade of colour. So I'm sure between these three, I'm going to get the right colour for what I want on my piece. A business card, I've got lifted out a couple. I've got this one here, which is a lovely pink colour, and then I've lifted out this one as well, both business cards, as you can see, and then it says some white space. I've lifted out this little stamp here. Now this is a faux postage stamp, and for the white space I'm using the border on here. And bonus, several items of the same colour family. Well, I'm going with these bits and bobs. The background, and also my business card I should mention as well, my background has got tones of pink in it, and for once I thought I would use the background and pick up the pink. So I've lifted out a little piece that I got from AliExpress. They come in a little flip book with about 100 of these in. So I just pulled out one that's got pink on it. I've got a couple of pieces of mulberry paper here, different shades of pink again. I've got a little collage here on some vellum that I did a while back. I've got a piece of pink paper in there, a little piece of wallpaper down here, and also this little pink flower. So I thought I might find a home for that on my page. I've also got this pink tag. Now this is quite thick, and I did think if my buttons didn't work I might punch out a couple out of here. I've got this piece of paper, which as you can see has got shades of pink in it. I've got this little piece here as well. This was part of a picture with Paris written across it, hence the Eiffel Tower, and I thought that might be quite nice to use. And as you saw earlier, I've got my business card if I decide to go with that one. So let's get started and see where we go with this one. I think my first job, let's pop those bits off to one side just there. I think my first job really is to punch this and get some buttons made. This strip isn't very wide, so I haven't tested it against the size of circle that I want to punch for my buttons, but I can just about get the red on with a little bit of a border. I'm not sure if I'm liking that, if I'm honest, so I might have to resort to using the tag as I originally thought. It is a shame to do this, but I think I will give it a go, and I'm going to go with this area down here. I'm going to try not to cut into the tag higher up because I don't really want to lose much of this gorgeous tag. I haven't really got much to play with in terms of a pink colour on the reverse, so let's see how I get on with trying to punch through this card. As I say, it's very thick, so it might not work, and as you can see I'm struggling. Well, I'll have to go off in a second and try and find that bit, but I think that will eventually work, didn't it? So let me try this side here and see if I can, maybe if I try at the bottom here, that won't be too bad. Let's try again. It was a bit of a challenge trying to get my little punch to go through it, but it did go through it, and I still have a reasonable amount of the tag left over that I can use in another project. So as you can see, these are my little circles cut out. Then I just went in with my Tim Holtz pokey tool and this mat and just created a couple of little holes, just eyeballing them using the pokey tool. And now I'm just going to thread up a needle with some pink embroidery thread and thread it through, tie a little bow on each of these. So I've done 2 of my buttons and I'm going to do the 3rd now. All I've done is I've got a piece of DMC stranded cotton or floss, doubled it over. I haven't tied a knot in it, and I'm just going to thread through from the front to the back, leaving myself a decent tail to hang on to, and I'm just going to go through the holes a couple of times just so that I get a hint of colour behind my bow, and maybe just one more on this one. So I've gone through this 3 times. Okay, come through to the front of my button. I'm just going to snip off my thread there. Just tie a quick knot like this to secure my thread, and then tie a little bow. So if you leave yourself a decent end of thread, it's not too hard to tie your bows. So I'm just going to, a little bit fiddly, but not too hard. So I'm just going to pull that through, tighten up the bow. There we go, give it a tight tug. Now my bow is obviously way too big for what I want, so I'm just going to pinch the knot in the centre and pull one of the ends so that my bow, or the loop of my bow, is about the width of my button, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm just going to snip off the ends again, level with the edge of my button, but you don't have to do that, that's just my preference. And there we go, there's my 3 little bows. Quite happy with those, and I will be gluing those onto my piece in a moment. So let me just lift them up to the camera for you. Sorry, taking the thread out of that. Let me just quickly lift them up to the camera so you can have a better look. And there we go, hope you can see those. So they're ready for me to stick onto my project now as I want. I could ink round the edges and I might do that, but we'll see. Okay, so I've got my pieces. Let's see what I can do with these. So I definitely want to use that one because of the Eiffel Tower stamp. So let's maybe pop that one there. I'm thinking that I will hold that one in abeyance, because if I can get the Eiffel Tower stamped in red and it looks all right, then I'm thinking that I won't need that, and I would rather go with this business card. What else have we got here? Let's try a little portion of that up there. Thinking I quite like the look of that. So I've taken this little piece of mulberry paper right over to the edge of the background, and I've lined the Paris one up with one of the grid lines that runs down the side of the page. I think it would be nice to use this. So let's see if I can maybe use that there, maybe this over the top. I'm not liking this white, little bit of white edge I've got there, so I'm thinking if I put that over the top, that will hide it, and then I can bring this piece in maybe underneath as well so that it hides that green. Certainly if I move it up to there, but I'm still getting enough of the Paris coming through. This is quite a big piece, this piece. It's got a lot of nice detail on it, so I don't really want to lose it. I like that it's on the vellum, so I can take it to the edge of the border here, but I can still see some of the background through it. So yeah, I'm liking the look of that. Maybe bring this down a little bit more, something like that. Get slightly staggered look down in this corner because of what I've got going on this collage piece of vellum. So I've got my business card to get in, so Maybe if I tuck that under there like that. Oh yes, I like this piece of vellum. Has got a lovely wavy top to it. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, the light isn't good in here when it gets to late afternoon, but I thought I would have a go at doing this anyway, so I hope you get to see enough. So that wavy edge on the vellum, I think I quite like under the name on the business card. I'm not so keen on this piece of mulberry paper. It's a much deeper, vibrant pink than that delicate piece, so I think I'm not going to use that. I'm going to knock that one out of the equation. Right, I need to get my stamp in, don't I? So I've got a lot going on down here. I haven't got anything going on up there, but I'm wondering whether to actually try and have my buttons up there. So maybe if I put this little one on here. I'm still getting some of that green showing through, which I don't particularly want. So I'm thinking if I put that piece on top, almost centre it on the mulberry paper like that, and I'm wondering about maybe if I put that on there. Got the stamp upside down. So let me put that on there like that. Now I need to get my Eiffel Tower stamped on here somewhere, and that area there is an ideal place. I need to try it out on a little bit of paper first to see which of those reds will work, but I'm actually thinking if I grab it, I could have it there. That's what I'm thinking, and then have my 3 buttons across top there, just on the background. Yeah, I'm liking that configuration, everybody. Sorry, I've got my hand all over it, so you probably can't see a thing. So I'm going to actually go in and start doing some gluing down. Yeah, looks a little bit like that, but I think it will be all right when I actually get my stamp on there like that. I think that will help it. And then these little ones, I think I was going to could have maybe one down there like that, and a couple up here, or I might go with 3 in a row like that. I want something down in this corner here, so I think I'm going to go with at least one of the buttons down there, and I could go with that and that actually up there. I'm actually liking them across the top a bit better, I think, like that. I'm going to stamp directly onto my page. Now, there is a high chance that if I do that, the image won't take very well. Partly because this is a very bumpy, uneven surface now, because I've got so many collages in the book. But the other thing is that business card is quite thick and there's quite a drop to the background. If I use the archival ink, I'm okay about stamping on the business card. There is a coating on this, but I think the archival ink will cope with that. But if we have an epic fail in terms of the stamping, then what I'll have to resort to doing is stamping the image, ripping it out, and using the image over the top of the epic fail. So I'm liking where my buttons are, so I think I'm going to glue those in place now. So I'm going to put a dab of glue on this one here. I'm going to leave this one for the minute until I've actually sorted out my stamping here. Okay, everybody, I've had a little test stamp with those 3 colours, and this one is the archival red geranium, and that was quite a nice match actually. This one was the Distress Oxide Fired Brick, and I really like that. It's come out as a soft muted colour, and this one is the Red Carnation or Carnation Red. Definitely don't like that one. So my thoughts are either of those two. I think if I use this one, it will be too prominent on my page. So I'm actually thinking about going with this one. I need to really balance out this page. So what I thought I would do is use a couple of my glue books and put those behind and try and level up my page a little bit. It's not ideal by any means, so I could have a fail doing this, everybody, so fingers crossed for me. Okay, not the best impression, and ideally I would have liked to have come down a bit more with that, but never mind, I can live with that. So I've got a little bit of smudging too, and I might be tempting the fates, but I'm going to go in with my wipe, see if I can just get rid of it. Now I'm going to have to be very careful with that. I think I'll just go in with my heat gun and see if I can just dry that off a little bit. Obviously the archival ink would have been better there. So this is how my piece looks now that I've stamped my Eiffel Tower on it. Even though I went in with my heat gun, it's not dried on this coated business card here, and I thought that might be an issue. I've actually smudged it again, testing it with my finger to see if it was dry. So I'll leave this now overnight to see if it dries any better. If it doesn't, then obviously I'll have to go in with this image here that I stamped out and just rip it out and put it over the top. I love the shades of pink on this. I love that it's picking out the pinks in the background as well. I do have a bit of a diagonal thing going on here, but I'm not too worried about that. I like how it's all staggered and overlapped. This is a major edge down here from the business card, but that edge is softened completely by the torn edge on the vellum, which was a happy accident because that was already there really, as it is on the bottom. So there we go, everybody. I'm pleased with this one, and I really enjoyed doing it. It came together really quickly. So that was my assignment for number 46. I've got my 3 paper buttons. Piece of architecture is my Eiffel Tower. Red ink, well, that's my fired brick Distress Oxide red ink that I stamped in. My business card is here. Some white space, well, that's round my image on my faux stamp, and the bonus, several items of the same colour family. Well, I think you've spotted, it's pink. So there we go, everybody. I hope you enjoyed seeing this one come together, and I hope you'll join me for next week when I have a go at doing assignment number 47. So until then, a few pictures for you. Take care, have a great week. Bye bye now.